to Sophie Co-Visionaries and Sophie Shevardnadze. As the coronavirus pandemic continues to hit record numbers, vaccine trials offer a glimmer of hope. What are the odds of beating the virus before it causes even more devastation? I talk about this with microbiologist Dr. Michael Piontek, whose lab, Artist Biotechnology, is working on a COVID-19 vaccine. Dr. Michael Piontek, microbiologist, head of Artist Biotechnology, working on a COVID-19 vaccine. I've got so many questions for you. Dr. Piontek, hi, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and a pleasure to talk to you.
All right, so your lab is using yeast cells to grow antigens and activate the immune response to coronavirus in our bodies, if I understand it correctly. What are the advantages of this technology as opposed to others?
Well, first of all, this technology is in the market for decades already to produce vaccines. So I'm sure you may know about a hepatitis B vaccine, human papilloma vaccine. These are just two examples of vaccines in the market produced in yeast cells as virus-like particles. Virus-like particles are kind of virus dummies, empty virus shells used as an active ingredient for vaccines. And we have adapted this platform to produce new vaccines, and the most recent candidate is a candidate against COVID-19.
Mm-hmm. Well, it usually takes up to 10 years to develop an effective and safe vaccine, but now it's being, told that we're actually going to have a viable coronavirus vaccine by the end of the year, with the majority of people getting the shot next year. I mean,
yes.
How realistic is it?
It's really ambitious, and I think technically speaking, people are in the position to develop a candidate on a short term. So if we started in April, we are pretty much advanced right now. We have the cell line producing the vaccine candidate. We have the process know-how, so that's not the time limiting step. What took 5-10 years in the past is more the regulatory aspect of getting a product approved for the market, getting it through the preclinical trials, getting it through clinical trials, having long-term proof of vaccination effect of the protection against the disease. And that is what people are right now talking about to cut down, to get the approval in a much faster way so that a vaccine is available in the market. The question then remaining is it active?
So, that goes to say that if there's a pressing necessity, a vaccine can be made much faster.
Principally, technically speaking, yes, people can do the production of a vaccine candidate with modern genetic tools in a reasonably short time. And we see this with the mRNA vaccine candidates, which can be really fast produced. We have the know-how to do this virus-like particles in our yeast cell in a couple of weeks, in a few months. But then it's about the testing, producing, manufacturing, and testing it in human.
Okay, so from what I understand, the human clinical trials are the most time-consuming phase of a vaccine test,
yes.
Right? You give it portions of people, and then you observe at different stages if they develop any side effects and if the vaccine works. And so this may take years. Does speeding up
Absolutely.
This, by far probably the most crucial phase, mean compromising the safety of the vaccine?
I don't think it's compromising on the safety. Safety is, first of all, of course, a clear must. It has to be safe before you can administer it to humans, even to human volunteers in clinical trials. So that what comes first is a preclinical test assessing the safety and maybe the initial immune response in animals. What comes next is the first trial in human, when you just go for detecting if you develop the right immune answer, if you develop antibodies against the virus, in this case COVID-19. What remains open and will remain open for quite some time is if you develop a long-lasting immune response, to which protects you not only for a few weeks, but maybe for years against this disease. So this will still take time before we can be rest assured that a COVID-19 vaccine, protects us for many, many years.
But what about the harm that it can do as opposed to protecting? Because what we're talking right now, me and you, is a period of time it will make you immune to COVID-19. What I'm asking is that could it be that a vaccine that is tested promptly on humans could be dangerous for humans? Because we dug up this case where in 1950s some poorly made vaccines infected some 40,000 people with polio and killed like 200.
Yeah, we have to be very clear about what kind of vaccine we are talking about. If you talk about a vaccine which is an inactivated virus, which could theoretically be also contaminated with still live and infectious viruses, then you're right, it could be a danger if safety is not assessed sufficiently. If we talk about mRNA vaccines, probably no harm to humans, but we have to know that those kind of vaccines are so far not in the market for any kind of human vaccine. So the COVID-19 mRNA vaccine will be the first of its kind in the market if it comes to maturity. Other vaccines, like our virus-like particles, again, we use an approach which is, so to say, the backbone is the same as it is applied for a hepatitis B vaccine. So we know about the safety of the production organism. We know about the safety of the approach. We do not use anything which is infectious at all. So the risk is really minimal. And you do, of course, again, assess it in preclinical trials. And first of all, then in a small group of volunteers in the phase 1 trial, which you do for every kind of pharmaceutical new product.
So here's another thing. When a vaccine has survived human clinical trials, it's believed to be safe for use. But seeing how different people have different immune responses to coronavirus itself, some losing half of their lung functions, others not even noticing they were sick. Do you think people will have a different reaction to the COVID vaccine as well?
They will. They will, as people have in general for each and every vaccine. You will always have non-responders who do not develop protective immune response. Then you may have to develop a second generation vaccine to overcome those immune non-responders so that they get protected as well. For sure, you will have this for COVID-19. Again, you have the same for flu vaccine, for virtually every kind of vaccine. There's no 100% guarantee.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think it could be deadly for some people, this vaccine?
No, definitely not. The worst it can do that people do not get protected, they do not develop the immune response. Those hopefully only a few percentage of people, of course, will still be at risk to get infected with COVID-19 and develop symptoms, which then have to be treated. And hopefully we have other medicines to treat them in a good way. But the vaccine itself, for sure, will not be deadly or harmful to you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's a reassuring thing to hear. All right. So it's clear that nobody knows how much exactly a shot against COVID-19 will cost. But the tentative price I will have come across most often is $10. What are your suggestions?
Well, we know that, again, I refer back to the example of hepatitis B vaccine, where we have most of our know-how experience, because, again, this vaccine is manufactured in the mid-90s. You can produce it at a cost of less than $1, €1. So that can be really affordable, and you can do this in large amounts. I have to admit that on the production costs, manufacturing costs, for example, for an mRNA-based vaccine, I'm not familiar with this technology, what it's about the manufacturing costs, what could be the calculated costs for this one. It shouldn't be too much in my expectation, but it's a new product. It may have other risk factors associated to production, and we have to take care about it. But for our approach, I think we can guarantee it will be affordable. We do license this product for emerging market countries like Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, India, where there's enormous price pressure on this product.
Yeah, because I'm thinking that a vaccine only makes sense if everybody can have it, right? Like, does it mean that a vaccine against COVID-19 maybe should be free? Like we have free vaccines against polio or measles, and can the world afford it?
I think it is a general task of all governments to come to solution to provide it to their population, at least at affordable costs or even for free. That's depending on the different individual health systems in each country. But you're right, it's definitely something we talk about, which is not a luxury problem where only a few travelers may want to get vaccinated and protected. If we want to overcome the global restrictions, travel restrictions, economy restrictions, then we have to have a global vaccine.
Then a different question comes into play. Because if the world could do a free or close to a free vaccine, will it go for it? Because I'm thinking governments in Europe are now investing in all this biotech, securing promises of making the final product accessible. But once you have the final product, who's to force you to give it out to the next to nothing?
Well, we have to look on the industry producing it, manufacturing it, and they at least have to get some return because of the development costs and even manufacturing costs. So, of course, the company cannot afford to give it out for free. But of course, government, supranational organizations like the WHO can put an enormous pressure to give it out at affordable costs, and they can subsidize it so that it is either free delivered to their population or at least at affordable costs. If I look at the situation of a flu vaccination here, we have every season a new flu spread, a new virus type, you need a new vaccine. And looking at the German situation, this is, of course, you have to pay for it, but it's at affordable cost. The same situation definitely will be, that's what we recognize also in our discussions with representatives of different nations even and our industry partners. There's a lot of awareness that it has to be affordable. Even the vaccine industry is committed to produce it and sell it at affordable costs.
Dr. Piontek, we're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we'll continue talking about when are we to expect a vaccine against COVID-19 pandemic. Stay with us.